Now, these guys from Persona 5 are it's a group of teenagers with attitude that go to change people's hearts by entering their own personal emotional palace and stealing their deepest treasure in order to reveal their true emotions, intentions. Not sure, but they go through, change people's hearts, and make the world a better place for all of us to live.
From what I've heard, you'll never see him coming.
I've heard that too.
Interesting first pick. I like this one. This one gets to stay. Don, you would like to follow after the Don?
Certainly would. And for my first pick, I put forward the
My close friend at school actually did, for like our World Book Day, everyone came in as like Harry Potter characters and stuff. He came in as one of the Akatsuki.
That's awesome.
I mean, I would see people wearing the Akatsuki, like
the sweatshirts?
Robe, jacket, sweatshirt, just casually every day.
Yeah, dude, like it was everywhere.
Yeah, we were. It was a time. It was a time. That's all I can really say about that. Don Barma.
Right. Yes. First off, I'm gonna say that my picks are solely about interesting factions, one per game. But that being said, my first pick is Scions of Jakul from Star Wars: The Old Republic. Referred to as Scions, they are a religious organization in the Eternal Empire of Jakul. They are like Jedi or Sith in their respective factions, but differ in their viewpoint and usage of their force, aligning more neutral than either extreme. Scions are technically a sub-faction of Knights of Jakul, but more about them later. To be a Scion, one must have connection with the Force and to be able to see the future, following visions granted by the Force to the point of fanaticism, where they were called core beliefs of Scions along with revenge. To quote one of their last leaders, blood calls out for blood. Along with these beliefs, they preserved the ancient ways of Jakul from tribal days. They prayed to the old gods and observed ancient customs. Scions were trained in combat, but not to the extent of their knight counterparts. In the field, they were often teamed up with one knight, as this combination provided mental and physical prowess. Scions were remnants of the shamans from tribal days of Jakul. Their history beyond the formation of Eternal Empire is not known. They existed for around 300 years during the reign of Valkorion, who formed the Eternal Empire as he saw their visions useful. Valkorion located the long-lost Eternal Fleet and artificial world of Iokat through their visions. This fleet and the technology provided by Iokat would be responsible for subjugating major galactic powers later. But unlike Valkorion, who saw the visions and obsession with destiny as useful tools, his son Arkan detested them, believing them to be narrow-minded fools. The Scions, that is. Events happened and Valkorion's physical form was struck down and Arkan went thrown. One of the first actions taken by Arkan was to order the slaughter of every Scion. This led to majority of Scions dying and their organization fragmenting. Those who survived were exiled and rebelled to rebel groups who opposed Arkan. The leader of one major exiled group of Scions was Heskal, who aided the Outlander, which is a player character, leading the rebellion against Jakul's hegemony. But as a firm believer in destiny, he saw that his destiny was to betray the Outlander and to die for the sake of greater destiny. There's a lot of destiny going around with this faction, but Scions were to appear when it was their time to die. Their final acts were assisting the victorious rebellion in defeating genocidal machine gods of Iokat and final attempt at reviving their long-lost emperor Valkorion, but last of them perished in this latter quest. And that led to the dissolving of the order. I know you like this, especially Slaughter.
Oh yeah. We all know. Big fan of Slaughter over here. We'll see how that does in the final ranking. We'll see.
Oh yeah, I will. But before we move on, you might remember me talking about Knights of Jakul during my yapping session, and I did say more about them later. Take it away, Bob.
As you wish. As stated, as the future foreseers foretold, I will start with the Knights of Skul. They are an order of force warriors in Star Wars: The Old Republic. They held a philosophy different from both the Jedi and the Sith, believing the Force was a tool to be used in pursuit of justice, and they drew protection from the Force directly from the Emperor himself, Valkorion. They served to protect the Emperor and enforce justice throughout his eternal empire. Unlike the Jedi or Sith, they were accepting finding power in the Force in any way, light, dark, all forms of study were open to them, and they were encouraged to collectively give information, emphasizing the importance of a knight exploring their personal collections of the Force. They stripped away the strict codes of the Jedi and Sith. No areas of the Force were deemed too weak for a knight to pursue further information in, and no areas of the Force were limited to study in the pursuit of power. Knights were encouraged to share their findings with the rest of the Order rather than hoarding information for themselves, differing them from their often compared Sith equivalents. The Knights of Skul drew their origins from the Force-sensitive tribal leaders, the early Skul settlers, matriarchs, champions, and high shamans. After Valkyrie united the tribe centuries prior, these roles were organized and formalized into the Knights of Skul. The Knights were known for their distinctive lightsaber pikes, usually wielding alongside a shield, although Knights were known to utilize stand lightsabers and dual sabers in combat. Knights were taught to forge their own armor from a young age, a practice that extended even to the member of the royal family and future Emperor Arkan. Knights had subunits, including exarchs, individuals who were cybernetically enhanced knights subject to experiments and often fatal enhancement procedures, known as Project Exarch. In the aftermath of Emperor Arkan's conquest of the galaxy, they served as military governors and quasi-religious figureheads of their assigned sectors of the galaxy, ruling over conquered planets from a space station known as the Star Fortress. Exarchs were known to have worn enhanced or upgraded variants of standard knight armor, adapted to draw power from the very sun generators powering their Star Fortresses. Speaking personally, I like the Knights so much that I made an entire SWTOR character headcanon to be one of them, as seen in my first image. It was not cheap on in-game credits, but it's what I wanted, and I think he's neat.
Go from 2 anime to 2 Star Wars. That was quick. Or the Emperor, apparently. Alright.
That is a fitting gift, at least.
I feel like you two collaborated on this, going one after the other.
It feels like you two planned it, yeah.
I'm gonna take it away from both of those directions, and I'm gonna head a completely different direction. I mean, if we're gonna organize groups, we need to organize other families, local, far, close, whatever we can get. So I'm getting the Corleone family from the Godfather.
Ah, good choice.
I mean, if you're one thing to know, it's Italian mafia family from New Jersey. So, and the thing is, if you're in New Jersey, if you lived in New Jersey, you either have a family member that's probably mafia, you know someone that's in the mafia, know someone that's been broken by the mafia, or you have someone. Oh no, I already said all things. Point being, you either know someone or know someone that knows someone. That's usually how it goes.
Can confirm.
And my case, both, all the options apparently. But first of all, I love the movie, so. We haven't gotten to really talk about like movies outside of the horror movies for the one list, so I wanted to, spread our wings a little bit. And I have several connections to this movie and this group. Fun fact: the 2 daughters in this picture, the twins there, were my ex-girlfriend's aunts at the filming of the time of this movie. So that's a fun fact. Who are also the sisters to the Costco guys, or the Costco guy, the dad. So for you TikTokers out there, there you go.
That's pretty cool.
Lore.
Or hope they're doing well. That's all I can say about that. But going away from that, the actual family themselves, they are dangerous but fair for the most part. Like if you play by their rules, they'll be good to you. But you got to play, or you're gonna be playing with the fishes, as it may be. Originally headed by Vito. Was that what it was? Vito? Yeah, I think it was Vito. Who is the main Godfather in the first movie, and who eventually passes it on to his son, and then the main guy in the second movie, humble beginnings into a whole family business, essentially. It's just a very engaging story. If you see this movie, you already know. If you haven't seen this movie, go watch this movie. It is long, but it's good. So, but a necessary group.
As I understand it, they actually do have an official symbol.
If we made that reference from the beginning of this, I feel like we had to add them, so. Anyway, moving on to my second one. I've got... we got a group to take care of business that'll keep the business end moving, but I gotta get a group in to do the work to find out what's going on if something goes awry, figure out what is going on. So for that purpose, I'm drafting Mystery Incorporated.
Oh my god.
Okay.
I guessed that.
This is a choice.
I mean, what can I say that hasn't already been said about the Scooby-Doo gang? They can solve any mystery Shaggy is essentially a god only restricted by his own fear, but enabled by dog treats. We have a genius in Velma, depending on in one iteration of a fanfic, an eldritch god in Scooby. Fred, the trap master. So you know what? I think we're pretty much set. I got everything I need with this group. If I need something handled in terms of figuring something out, figuring out what's going on, I got that on lock now.
I love how in Mystery Inc. they basically turned Fred into a himbo.
Mystery Inc., Scooby-Doo. I don't really have to say much. If you don't know what Scooby-Doo is at this point, then you're probably not old enough to be watching these videos to begin with. Yeah, I felt like this is just a fun one to do for this draft, since, this is a bit of a different topic.
Alright, well, Doc, I'm gonna segue off yours and pick one of my light picks. So, cast your mind back to a prior draft video, where I showed my adoration for the Flash game known as Club Penguin. I'm going to draft the one, the only, the Elite Penguin Force, or the EPF for short.
I'm gonna get fucking copyright claimed again.
They're a special agency of highly skilled agents that help keep Club Penguin safe. The EPF headquarters was the location located inside the Everyday Phoning facility. It replaced the PSA, which was decommissioned due to the popcorn explosion back in 2010. The EPF was involved in key figures in Club Penguin's character roster, including Gary, a technical genius penguin, who was the inventor behind most of the technology on the island. Jetpack Guy, your to-be-expected, tough, Men in Black kind of agent. Rookie, as you expect, a bit goofy, but with good nature. And finally, the mysterious director. Who knows who that could be with those distinct glasses. EPF was really cool for having a huge chunk of lore for your operations, missions, minigames, and 2 Nintendo DS games. Becoming the EPF agent was a unique task in itself, finding unique interactables in a very spy mission recruitment kind of way. You didn't just get handed it, you had to go work for it. As a reward, you got access to the command room and the EPF phone, which had unique features including their own unique store for gear, cosmetics, field ops, minigames, missions, messages, the ability to recruit other players to the EPF yourself, and teleportation across the island, and more. EPF has a fairly interesting history from the game's lifespan, involving Herbert P. Pear as the main antagonist. The polar bear is the EPF's most wanted due to his many crimes he has committed, from theft to attempted destruction of property to kidnapping agents. He loves warmth and quiet. His main goal is to turn Club Penguin into his own paradise by removing the cold and noise. But who is the director? I suppose we'll never know. Moving on.
What interesting.
Technically he won in the end.
I guess so. Club Penguin will never make a noise again.
Guess it is my turn again. Okay. For my second pick, I have a Cerberus from Mass Effect series. Cerberus is a human supremacist paramilitary group in a distant future where humanity has entered into galactic community by trial of fire. Cerberus' core beliefs are that humans deserve a greater role in the galactic community and that their humanity is too hamstrung by laws and bureaucracy to stand up effectively against other races. Cerberus supports the principle that any methods of advancing humanity's ascension are entirely justified. Citadel Council, which can be compared to Space United Nations, has declared Cerberus to be a terrorist organization. Jack Harper was the leader of Cerberus, that's the actual name, Jack Harper, for its entire existence. He took the name Illusive Man after the First Contact War against Turians, when he published the Cerberus Manifesto and formed the organization. Cerberus is organized as cells where people from one cell do not have any information about the others. Only Illusive Man and very select members had knowledge of multiple cells. Each cell was led by operative who directly reported to Illusive Man. Cerberus grew rapidly due to different acts of assassination, sabotage and media manipulation. Sometimes their operatives would name drop their sponsor, Cerberus, when caught after successful operation to increase recruitment. Cerberus had wealthy sympathizers who financed them, but also front-end businesses. Cerberus has a hidden presence in the first Mass Effect game, mainly responsible for some side mission. For some side mission, the player, aka Commander Shepard, may do. You will find out that they are a rogue Black Ops unit that broke away from Human Alliance, and they are painted as somewhat evil organization in this game. The second game's things change as Commander Shepard is struck near death but rebuilt by Cerberus in a very costly project. For most of the second game, you do Cerberus's bidding willingly, as they have given you a mission to take out actual hidden threat of collectors who are related to Reapers. This game makes the organization much more grey and nuanced. You are able to find out that Illusiman could have implanted you to force obedience but chose not to from your companion. You eventually break off with them at the end of the second game, and in the third game where the Reapers have invaded, you find yourself opposed to them as Cerberus has experimented with Reaper technology in order to dominate them to secure humanity's place in galaxy, but they have accidentally gotten indoctrinated by the Reapers. Asking certain questions, you can break Illusiman out of that indoctrination, but it ends up with him killing himself and at the very end of the game, which many people dislike.
This one, at least, I'm familiar with to a degree. Back to Dawn 2.
Indeed, so moving swiftly on, I would be remiss, given the nature of my name and the digital company I keep, not to put this one forward. That being Organization 13 from the Kingdom Hearts series.
This is what originally concepted this idea as a draft to begin with, because this was one of the first ones we conceptualized.
We're
Yep.
super excited to be Xehanort Club.
Shut up!
When a person is consumed by darkness, their heart transforms into a dark creature called a Heartless, and sometimes, if the heart was strong enough, the empty husk left behind starts moving around with a will of its own as a being of the nothingness between light and dark. Known now as a nobody, the creature can think and plan, making it far more dangerous than any Heartless. And among nobodies, there are a few whose hearts were so strong that they retain their human forms and memories after transforming. With exceptional power fit to pale even the strongest of fighters, these individuals stand atop the nobody hierarchy as a group called Organization 13. Named so for its original roster of 13 members, each is a mighty combatant with a command over a specific elemental attribute and a weapon modeled after the organization's symbol. Their goal is a simple one: interfere with the affair of the worlds to create powerful Heartless, and then manipulate a Keyblade wielder to slay those Heartless, sending the freed hearts off to form Kingdom Hearts. This primal force, housed at the organization's headquarters, could then give them hearts of their own, making them complete humans again. Similar to the Akatsuki, however, the powers ultimately at the top of the pecking order had a hidden agenda. Master Xehanort, the brains behind the organization's creation, sought to use them as pawns to start a sweeping war that would give him full control of Kingdom Hearts, using its power to destroy the worlds and rebuild the entire universe in his own image. And while the individual members swapped out and changed ranks over the years, Xehanort always sat at the top in some way, guiding the group toward his grand design without most of his underlings being any the wiser. Also like the Akatsuki, Organization 13 has a simple but effective uniform consisting of a simple black coat that offers its members protection against darkness. Their look is notably the inspiration for Deadlock's avatar, and their naming convention, taking their original human names and jumbling the letters after adding an X, is the inspiration behind yours truly's. And while their popularity isn't quite as widespread as the Akatsuki's, it didn't prevent several people from knowing who they were, and among those who do know them, they serve as a constant reminder that nothingness is eternal.
Eventually, I'll play more of this series, and so far I haven't met any of these people, but at least I'm aware of them.
Yeah, all things in time.
This is getting too complicated, too convoluted. We need somebody to keep us organized, somebody to keep us together. Let's bring in the folks over at Lorehold. Lorehold from Magic the Gathering. So, this is one of the 5 colleges on Strixhaven. Their specialty is looking at old knowledge, making sure it's all recorded, kept safe, and either found out in old ruins and dungeons, or utilized to the best of their abilities by making sure the magic is kept alive throughout the years as they hold on to the lore of the world.
Is that person firing a scroll like a minigun?
Yes, they are. Also, Strixhaven, while it is a school of magic users, you don't have to be able to cast magic in order to apply. You can be a fighter who uses magic artifacts that they find in ruins if you join the College of Lorehold.
Well, that's good that they cast a wide net at least.
Yeah.
And I believe that because this is owned by the same guys, I think the same guys with Wizards of the Coast, it is pretty much in line with D&D. I think they exist at the same universe.
There is a supplementary book called Strixhaven Curriculum of Chaos.
There's some other good ones. Like, for example, not my next one.
Yeah, I would say, but doubling up has historically not been very good in these drafts. Unless you're Peter and people are all biased towards you for some reason because you pick Rowlet twice, basically.
He's also delightfully British.
You know who isn't British, though?
Hey.
Some kids. Some kids not from America. Because we're going to Japan to meet the Digidestined.
I thought you were gonna
Tamers.
I thought you were gonna say the kids next door.
The kids next door! The ones in Japan! It is specifically the Digidestined from Digimon Tamers. They're the ones that are supposedly in the real world, which is technically supposed to be connected to ours. And they discover Digimon through a TV show in their timeline, or in their universe, making it a stacked fictional universe where the first 2 seasons were fiction for them. But then they got their own Digimon, and holy shit, the shit hit the fan. Rest in peace, Leomon.
Every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
Hard to feel bad for the guy when he keeps doing this.
Yeah, unfortunately for this one, this Leomon his death actually comes with consequences. As his tamer, the little girl next to him, she does not do well with his death.
Oh, it's been a long time, but I do vaguely remember that.
And in case anyone has not seen it, no spoilers coming from me.
Fair enough.
Sam,
Yes.
are we here because of Renamon?
No, we're not here because of Renamon.
You can tell me if we are.
I am here because I like card games and Digimon.
Anyway, let's move it along before this gets stupid.
Indeed. Then let's, well, I guess we're kinda keeping one that's kinda sorta pseudo in our world, because I'm putting forward the Hidden Ones / the Assassin Brotherhood from the Assassin's Creed series. Nothing is true, everything is permitted. And that's the maxim that's transcended time and location to become the backbone of this organization. Standing in stark opposition to the Order of the Ancients, later known as the Templar Order, the Assassins fight against the forces that would shackle and manipulate the world and its people from the shadows. They work in those same shadows to serve the light, ridding the world of those corrupting it, one blade thrust at a time. While their parkour is impressive and their proclivity for performative plunges from precarious platforms into puffy piles is positively profound, murder is their trade and it's what they're best at. While each member wields some variant of the group's signature hidden blade, each employs a variety of tricks and weapons from their respective time periods to make their hunt easier. And there are many time periods and locations to be observed. The current roster of games spans as far back as the Peloponnesian War in Greece and goes through the Ptolemaic dynasty in Egypt, the Viking era of England, the Crusades of the Holy Lands, the Italian Renaissance, the Sengoku era of Japan, the Golden Age of Caribbean piracy, through the American and French Revolutions, the British Industrial Revolution, and into the modern age. But if the in-game lore is to be believed, the mission of the Brotherhood dates back to the human Isu hybrids Adam and Eve, who rebelled against the Isu in the year 75,010 BC. This would make them one of, if not the oldest organization in their respective universe, or any universe for that matter, and I have to respect that kind of longevity. Theirs is another simple uniform, and one that even non-gamers are familiar with. It's a clothing ensemble typically heavy with off-white and blue colors, sporting a hood obscuring the assassin's features, and several weapons of their time. It's simple, but sends a message almost on sight of what they're here to do. And being now in a world where dark forces tighten their grip of control on the world and its people, how can you not like an organization that takes out the trash wherever it's found?
There are modern Assassin's Creed game, or what was that about the modern timeline?
The whole thing is the guy going into the Animus, which is the thing that puts him in the past memory ancestors or whatever, and then he's like a modern day assassin.
Right, yeah, because over prolonged exposure to the Animus, his ancestors' skills bleed over into him, so he knows how to do them without actually having to have been trained.
Then, next pick is it's not gonna be entirely similar organization, but we are gonna be in the medieval times, kind of, but in a different universe. It's gonna be the Nilfgaardian Empire from Witcher series. The Nilfgaardian Empire, or Nilfgaard for short, is the most powerful empire in the history of known world in Witcher universe. Located at the southern part of the continent, they boast large medieval economy and well-trained and disciplined army. Nilfgaard has expanded a lot through conquests, and they have a fair amount of vassals. Nilfgaard is absolutist monarchy ruled by Imperator of Nilfgaard, or Emperor in other words. Nilfgaard's symbolism, proverbs, and religion are heavily tied into sun and flames. Their latest emperor's additional name in the Nilfgaardian language is the white flame dancing on the burrows of his enemies. Nilfgaardian language and customs are partly inherited from elder races like elves, and the empire generally tends to be more favorable towards the elder races than most kingdoms, especially compared to northern kingdoms. Nilfgaard also evolved as a Senate-backed kingdom, but eventually monarchy overpowered the Senate, which turned it into an empire. And Nilfgaardians believe that their wars of conquest are civilizing barbaric nations, which is very evident in The Witcher 3. Nilfgaard is likely modeled after the Roman Empire, as their mannerisms, religion, ideas, and history resemble it. One example of this is a proverb that goes like this: when in Nilfgaard, do as the Nilfgaardians do, and that is pretty much directly copied from when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Nilfgaard has held 3 wars of conquest against northern kingdoms, which is where Geralt of Rivia, the main character of Witcher series, is from. 2 of those wars ended up with stalemates with little gains on either side, but the third is up to the player in Witcher 3. Officially, Third Northern War begins at the end of Witcher 2, where Emperor Emhyr War Emreis has ordered assassinations of multiple kings to sow division among the northern kingdoms. The final cutscene at the end of the game shows the invasion begin. Witcher 1 and 2, but also northern kingdoms in general, talk about the Nilfgaard as this oppressive evil empire, but in the third game you get to meet a lot of Nilfgaardians, which makes them a lot more grey, especially when compared to some northern kingdom leaders, for example Radovid of Redania. He's not a nice guy. Some areas they have conquered are treated more fairly than their previous owners of those areas, and the Nilfgaardian officers for the most part seem to be fair in their dealings with peasants. Nevertheless, it is up to the player to decide if you will help them in their different objectives. Your choices will determine whether they will lose the Third Northern War or if they will subjugate all northern kingdoms.
I don't know too much about The Witcher, but I've seen some other media that have done things like this. I mean, the symbol is pretty universal, the sun. I mean, immediately when I saw this, I thought of the Sun Bros from Dark Souls, but I mean...
Yeah, it is a good place to start with this faction. It is a very interesting faction, especially when you play the third game. It's interesting to deal with.
The Roman basis is cool. Yeah, of the European nations, the Spaniards and the Italians were, I think, the two that kept up with what the Romans were doing the most after the dissolution of the empire.
We can ask Lorehold. They probably have the answers.
Peter, please move on before I get too educated.
Yeah, this is getting very past heavy. Let's look forward to the future here. There's a certain time agent said the 21st century is when everything changes. Calling back to the conversation here about me being British, you're not going to escape my British pick this time. It's Doctor Who time. The Torchwood Institute.
It is an anagram. That's crazy. I'm looking at the word Torchwood and I'm like, oh yeah, I see it. Following that up a little bit. I would say these are morally good people who get fucked up a little bit. But, you know, at the end of the day, they're just a bunch of superheroes. The Justice League. So, maybe it's a bit of a basic pick. I don't know. You got your founders, Superman, Batman, Flash, Martian, Green Lantern, whichever Green Lantern the story decides to put in that place. You know, probably one of the better versions of Wonder Woman. Probably, arguably the best version of Wonder Woman. And then Hawkgirl.
And then the Hawk Girl.
I'm sorry. She's always been my least favorite because, like, they don't do much with her. And when I was younger, the mature themes, like with her and the Green Lantern, I always want to say Hal Jordan. I got 2 space dudes over here. So you know what? Let me get you a little bit of space. We're going with the, you know, morally questionable. I know that's Halo Wars. Morally questionable program, but it worked out when you get super soldiers that can beat aliens that are like twice the size of a human and like 3 times as jacked at minimum. And one of them that can take down like armadas on his own. So, you know, you've done something right when you get morally questionable, I guess, in this case. It was about survival. But one of the strongest militaries, I think, in fiction, like strongest without being ridiculous. I feel like the realm of this military is not so far out of fiction. That's part of the reason why I picked them. They're somewhat realistic. Somewhat.
Yeah, their strength and their position relative to the rest of the galaxy is somewhat believable.
So, and and the story of basically being the underdogs fighting a war on 2 fronts, essentially, from the beginning, where you have the Covenant start off with just the elites and then expand it to the roots. You were fighting 4 different races of planets worth of people with just your own. So the fact that they lasted long enough to get the elites to change to their side and then win and such is just great military power group. Peter, pass it back to you.
Alright, well, tell me everyone, is the cake a lie?
Yes.
No.
Depends.
If I made it, it's not.
Interesting answers. Well, let's ask scientists, shall we? Specifically Aperture Science, from the Portal series. Aperture Science is a scientific research company founded by Cave Johnson. Portal 1 and 2 both take place in Aperture Science's Richmond Center, which is dedicated to endlessly testing the Aperture Science products and the humans that use them. Aperture Science was founded as Aperture Fixtures in the early 1940s by Cave Johnson. Aperture Fixtures was primarily dedicated to the manufacture and distribution of shower curtains, a low-tech portal between the inside and outside of the shower, with Cave Johnson winning the Shower Curtain Salesman of 1943 award. Incredible, I know. In 1943, the company's name was changed to Aperture Science Innovators, which was literally done to make the shower curtain sound more hygienic. The company's focus was soon shift towards actual science. Cave Johnson purchased a large abandoned salt mine in Upper Michigan, in which Aperture Science's Richmond Center would be built. Throughout the late 1940s and 50s, Aperture Science began its comprehensive testing and research practices. All of it was not done legally, going by posters telling employees to alarm if they were to see any sort of journalists or police. The best possible test subjects, like the Olympians, astronauts, and war heroes, were chosen first. They were also the second largest contractor after Black Mesa for the Department of Defense from 1952 to 1954. Aperture's developments in this period included the propulsion gel, the weighted storage cube, the 1500 megawatt super colliding super button, and the Aperture super portable quantum tunneling device, an earlier and significantly larger version of the modern portal gun. In 1968, Cave Johnson attended court hearings regarding Aperture Science's involvement with the disappearances of astronauts, likely due to many of them not returning from testing. But in the 1970s, Aperture Science was financially unstable. The Olympians, astronauts, war heroes were all used as test subjects, were replaced with vagrants who were paid only $90 for their time. Sorry, $60 for their time. Sorry, I overestimated how much they pay them.
It's okay, you were discounting for inflation.
Yeah, clearly. Aperture Science continued its research and created propulsion gel. In the 1980s, test participation became mandatory for all staff, raising the quality of the test subjects, but diminishing employee retention. Aperture's financial problems were severe at this time, but development continued. Moon rocks were used to create conversion gel, an effective portal conductor. Cave Johnson would become poisoned by his experiments with moon rocks and become deathly ill. As his health degraded, he relegated leadership to his assistant Carolyn, researching the transfer of consciousness into digital form. Testing continued with the hopes that through Portal repeatedly somehow might cure Cave Johnson of his illness. Aperture Science also began development of its genetic lifeform and disk operating system. An artificial intelligence would be used to oversee the scientific testing. In 1998, GLaDOS was brought online for the first time during Aperture Science's annual Bring Your Daughter to Work Day. GLaDOS instantly became self-aware and homicidal, flooding the Enrichment Center with a deadly neurotoxin, killing almost all of the scientists. Aperture Science was effectively shut down and placed into a permanent testing cycle by GLaDOS. One test subject, a human, would be awoken named Shell, leading to the events of Portal 1. Personally, Aperture is fascinating in a very self-aware and comedic and over-the-top tone. A company that is sitting on gold, yet manages to fail due to a lack of awareness of what they have. Their fascinating creations are a perfect setting and world building for Portal's very wacky world.
I feel like you got a bit more of a lesson than I asked for, but...
Like, there's a lot of people who say if it weren't for the Black Mesa incident, GLaDOS would have brought about the end of the world.
I was going to say, because the two were competing companies, whatever, was it Black Mesa? Was that the other company, or...?
Yeah.
It was a case of snobs versus slobs, with Black Mesa and Aperture, respectively.
Alright, we got a lot of... I'm noticing a lot of legally and morally questionable things about a lot of these groups.
Nah.
What are you talking about? There's nothing wrong with my groups.
Leave the elite
Make them
Penguin
more
Force alone.
interesting.
I say, Sam, yours are so far the most clean across the board.
Yes, especially the Ryuji lovers.
I said for the most part, I didn't say all.
Carry on, Bob.
Yeah. Well, since Doc started talking about it, I'm gonna have one another morally questionable organization, and that's gonna be 6th Street from Cyberpunk. Some info about the setting. For those who don't know, Cyberpunk is set in Night City, which acts as an independent city-state in Southern California. I know the horror. In the year of 2077. The Soviet Union won the Cold War. USA has fragmented into various states in the aftermath of both corporate war in 2020s. Corporations rule most things. Also, as the name implies, cybernetics are heavy in everyday life. So 6th Street, they are a gang that was formed shortly after the fall of USA and have consisted always mainly of military veterans or other mercenaries. They were formed when Night City gained its independence, but the streets were in chaos. Solomon Wright, who was a former military intelligence officer of USA, came back to his home from the Fourth Corporate War, only to see gangs and hooligans rule the streets. He and like-minded veterans picked up their gear again and started to patrol the streets to lash out their own justice and law. Initially, this was accepted by the police force, who had their hands full already. 6th Street initially also marketed itself as organization to stand above the gangs. As former soldiers of USA, their core principles also included reunification with USA, or in this case with the new United States of America, and USA, which still had swathes of land on the East Coast. 6th Street disallowed too many cybernetics on a person and would cast out members for this. Money, however, was always a problem for this organization. In the beginning, they could extort big corporations and gather donations from locals to keep them funded. But as time went on and the 6th Street grew and took more territory under their control, first it was bribes and other minor mischiefs, but eventually it just grew into theft, smuggling, taking protection money, and even hitman jobs. Now we come into the timeline of Cyberpunk 2077. You can guess the year from the name. At this point, they are just one of the gangs among the rest. But 6th Street is still, even in this time, officially still worships the ethos of traditional patriotism. Without its embrace of the particular state or ethnic group, its first duty is to the neighborhood and its inhabitants, no matter their appearance or origins. But despite this, many of its individual members still long for unification with Yan and USA. These sympathies also make their allegiances clear. Should an USA or any related entity or corporation ever return to Night City to reclaim it. So 6th Street will obviously join those. As a side note, all gangs in Cyberpunk, and especially 6th Street, have incredible teams. Cyberpunk in general has incredible musical themes, in my opinion.
Not totally related, but I always like cyberpunk aesthetic.
Agreed.
It is a cool dystopian setting and aesthetic.
So they're the conservatives of the future.
More or less, that's what it sounds like.
Technically, yeah. They are.
Cool.
Let's move it along, though.
Yep, and keeping this moral ambiguity train going, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and follow your example this time, Doc, and take a cue from space, because I am bringing into our fold the first galactic empire from Star Wars.
Oh, Star Wars love here today.
I will preface this by saying that these are the kinds of people who provide groups like the Assassin Brotherhood with job security. Founded in the wake of the Clone Wars, the Empire promised peace and prosperity throughout the galaxy, leaning on populist policy, fomenting long-standing fear and hatred of droids and the Jedi, and stoking human ethnocentrism to establish itself. Once in power, however, the Empire showed what it was truly about: military rule and aggressive political expansion through textbook dictatorial methods. It's a strategy every bit as diabolically impressive as it is painfully familiar. In truth, the Empire was the result of a covert plot by the Sith to eliminate the Jedi Order and gain vast power and influence across the galaxy. Masterminded by the Sith Lord Darth Sidious, who would reign as Emperor, the Empire served as the sword arm of the Sith, taking through force, fear, deception, and subjugation what could not be achieved in the past through skill and diplomacy. And Sidious was aided most notably and fiercely in this endeavor by his second apprentice turned Imperial Fleet Commander Darth Vader. With vast armies, space armadas, and the advent of Death Stars capable of destroying entire planets in an instant, the Empire sported an arsenal more than poised to ensure that its rule would never be opposed, much less defeated. But the Force had other plans, and the intervention of the Alliance to restore the Republic, more specifically with the aid of Luke Skywalker, brought about Vader's turn and Sidious's downfall, seeing the Empire's 1,000-year goals end prematurely after just a couple of decades. Their defeat serves as a time-tested and contented reminder that no matter how powerful or aggressive, the tale of people like Sidious only ever ends one way. Popularity-wise, the Empire is a source of more fandom and memes than its antics would lead it to deserve. The horrible aim of Imperial stormtroopers alone has been hashed, rehashed, and hash-browned in countless memes across the internet's lifespan and shows no signs of slowing. People also seem rather taken with the red lightsabers utilized by Sith like Sidious and Vader, myself included as a secondary to purple. And as far as villains go, Darth Vader himself is one of those examples whose appearance and theme song completely transcend his own fandom, being so instantly recognizable that even a person who's never consumed sci-fi media in their life knows who he is. And in that regard, for better or for worse, the Empire's goal of expansion and influence seems to have worked far better than even they expected.
The Empire did nothing wrong.
I don't know about that.
Yikes, Chief, yikes.
They did so many things wrong, hello.
They did nothing wrong.
Ooh, that's a bit of a bag of worms right there.
Yikes, Chief, yikes.
Someone's
Someone's going to the dark side.
Yikes, TM, yikes.
What? They have cookies.
You're not becoming a Force ghost in the afterlife.
Come on! What if I ask nicely?
No.
Oh.
You're going to be stuck on some backwater Sith planet haunting a tomb.
No!
Vader can become Force Ghost and about anyone can, to be honest.
And somehow Sam returned.
Well,
Oh, no.
can I at least bring some company with me?
No, you can get a terrible 10th movie that leads to another bad trilogy.
You can bring Jar Jar.
I don't want Jar Jar.
That's who you get.
Well, Jar Jar's what you got.
Oh. Can I at least make a request of who to bring with me?
No, we just gave you Jar Jar.
But I would like this band of mercenaries that I just found outside.
What is
Look, it's Jar Jar or Watto. Take your pick.
I choose the monsters for hire from Yu-Gi-Oh!
You're fired.
So, this is a group of sky pirates that are all furries. Big surprise.
Oh.
They each are about working together, getting out on the field as fast as possible, and just trying to outmaneuver your opponent before they even get a chance to set up. These mercenaries are all based on different creatures, each one respective to their own animal, with the exception of Recon and Donpa, who are siblings, or twin siblings, who are both fennec foxes.
You're really hitting hard with your own labels here today, Sam.
Okay, fine. You want me to move on to my next group?
Your final group, actually.
Yeah, my final group. In fact, this one might not even come to a surprise if you've noticed a theme with my list, because this is a very easy thing you can make. After all, what's a good furry thief without the furry thief himself? And that's right, I'm going with the Cooper gang.
Deadlock would approve.
He would.
I approve.
Barbara also approves.
This gang of misfits, all starting out as just the three orphans with Murray, Bentley, and Sly, all working together to steal cookies from the kitchen, work their way up slowly to steal from the most ruthless criminals in all of France, and then all of the world, and then all of time. Because of course we had to do time travel. This story wasn't complicated enough. But yeah, we get a lot of cool members. We get Sly, we get Carmelita, we get so many cool characters that I just want to smooch.
I'll put a furry suggestion box in for you.
Yay!
That being said, we're moving on. You're gonna make everyone uncomfortable.
I already have.
Probably.
Indeed, and while we've got plenty of heavy lifters on my roster already, let's throw a little more on that fire with, shall we, with the Survey Corps from Attack on Titan.
Oh God! Why would you do this to them?
Let's be.
Rest in peace, most of them.
Yeah.
I mean, two of my favorites died right at the end. So close.
Hey, they knew what they were getting into.
To be fair, the one got cheap shotted by a little girl.
You still knew what you were getting into.
Still not happy about it. It's been like a year or two now since I've watched it, and I'm still not happy about it.
War is hell.
Barba, please go away before I start getting upset.
My final pick is gonna be from a bit lighter game or bit lighter topic than the rest. It is the Crocs Empire from Spore. Spore is a speedrun evolution game where you evolve from a pseudo-galactic empire in interconnected galaxy with multiple saves and all that. But the Crocs are a species of cyborgs with high machine tendencies. They practically are machines. They don't even need air to exist. They are an ancient empire with no known record of their past. They are always present in the game in almost all stages. Considering that in lore, once evolution takes about 1 billion years or more, it is assumed that the Crocs are at least as old as that. They are the boogeyman of the game, as every nation seems to know of them in the space stage and fears them. Their absolutely huge empire is located near galactic core, and it consists of around 2,500 star systems. Yes, you heard me right. Those are all visitable star systems with their own sets of planets. They are gigantic and have very advanced technology. Oh, and they are hostile to everyone on first contact. They guard the galactic core and will not let you through easily. All the worlds the Crocs Empire owns are inhabitable by human standards. You can ally the Crocs through hard work, but this will result in every other nation declaring war on you. And that is a lot of nations that exist in the whole galaxy of Spore. You can also try to destroy them, but that will take hundreds of hours. But once they have been wiped from your game, they are gone forever, unless you reset your galaxy, obviously. To wipe out the Crocs Empire is the most impressive achievement you can actually do in Spore. In the end, the item that the galactic core that they are guarding is a life staff that is capable of making perfect exoplanets out of any rocky planet. And funnily enough, you can also, if you manage to get that life staff, sneak past them, you can kill the Crocs with that. But it doesn't have enough charges, obviously, for 2,500 systems.
I was gonna say you claim to have a lighter game than Sly Cooper, but yeah, I would say Spore counts.
I want to kick it. Just looking at this picture, I want to kick it.
It will get angry if you try to kick it.
Well, it invites my anger. I can't help it.
It looks like anger is its default emotion.
Well, it invites it.
I can't believe they cyborgized Yoda. What happened to you, Yoda?
I mean, yeah, it kind of looks like Yoda a little bit.
Yeah, I can see it now that you said it. Fuck's sake, Bob.
Alright, he'll pick something and then you can make fun of it. So go ahead, Peter, do it.
Yeah, good luck making fun of these guys. So, to conclude my choices, I said before I had a very niche pick, and I'm wrapping it up with the Abbey of the Everyman, or simply known as the Abbey. They're a religious order within the world of Dishonored, the franchise, spread and enforced by overseers and headed by the High Overseer. Based in the cities of Whitecliff and Dunwall, the Abbey's ideology centers on the belief that the universe is unknowingly vast and swing with all manner of dangerous spirits and forces, most of which are hostile to man's existence. The primary goal of the Abbey is to stand against the outsider, basically a magical god in Dishonored who gives his mark and in turn powers to individuals who catch his interest very rarely, every few hundred years or so. It is also tasked with civilian matters such as officiating marriages and regulating the Isle's calendar and feasts. Under Lord Regent Hiram Burrows, the overseers of the Abbey are granted the full authority of a civilian police force. The creation of the Abbey of the Everyman's body of police is shrouded in mystery, but it's known that Benjamin Holger was the religion's founder and the first High Overseer. Holger's movement rose to prominence in 1701 when High Overseer John Cavillington ordered the construction of the titular Abbey in Dunwall, at which point adherents began gathering in the city. In 1705, the Abbey embarked the Rectification War, a large unifying conflict against other religions of the region. In this conflict, the offending groups were squashed by the Abbey. The war ended in 1708 with the Siege of Whitecliff, led by High Overseer Holger, during which a great number of heretics were cleansed by the early abbey in the town of Whitecliff. Holger died fighting, being stabbed in the eye, and John Cavillington succeeded him as the second High Overseer. Several days of sermons followed the battle, which were transcribed into the Abbey's holy book. It was this year that the Abbey's construction was completed. In 1711, the Abbey of the Everyman became the official religion of the Empire of the Isles. The Abbey has no stated deity, and opposes worship in a traditional sense, though it places special importance on astrological and cosmological movements. The organization regulates the calendar based on the observation of cosmological signs. They have a motto, Stacey, saying the fade and merge with the cosmos. The Abbey follows a strict set of doctrines known as the Seven Strictures, which dictates how the following of the Abbey should conduct themselves. Civilians are encouraged to engage their devotion and faith in the institution of the Abbey, particularly the High Overseer. Thus, the Abbey is generally regarded as a spiritual watchdog. The Abbey permits no other religions and opposes all acts of magic and witchcraft, in addition condemning those who diverge from the Abbey's ways. As the outsider source of all magic in the world, the Abbey disavows him and criminally combats his temptations of mortals. The Abbey practices the burning of witches and heretics even in the industrialized age, as such as the destruction of supernatural objects such as rune and bone charms. Conversely, the Abbey is generally accepting of technology, with electrical, lighting, and broadcast systems common in the office of the High Overseer. The Abbey states that technological progress at the present time eliminates any excuse for the practice of witchcraft. Personally, I find them very neat enemies to face in the Dishonored series, and their overall lore is quite interesting, befitting of the setting of the Dishonored titles. They're distinct and memorable as the game enemies factions go.
I just kept stabbing and shooting everyone.
Imagine.
Yeah, what do you mean imagine? You saw me do it.
I still say imagine. Dishonored has really good lore if you actually read into it.
Yeah, but I won't. Alright. Everyone's being kind of quiet about this, so I'm going to go on to my final pick here, which is the final pick of everyone. And I'm kind of going to follow up, although I couldn't follow up sooner since I was the last to go. Followed up on your Star Wars pick here, Chris. And you know what I think? Nazis are bad.
They are.
They are, in fact, bad. So I'm going with the Earthsphere Federation. This is from Gundam. These guys are the Earth Defense Force, essentially. Pretty much anything involving Earth. And there's if you're looking at the character images on the right, or it's all the characters on the left are the Federations. The ones to the right, bar one, are Nazis. Yes. So they're enemy of the Zeon, the guys on the right. We're people that were in space colonies. There's colonies that have been erected in space, and they weren't getting treated as good as people on Earth. But essentially, they were becoming third world countries in space. So they kind of were trying to secede, but they became very authoritative, very immediately. And we're actually following. Some of them were following in an angry Austrian man's footsteps. And the Earth Federation Force, not great, but they were doing what they could with how many people, because they were struggling with, getting resources to where they had to go. So, a war broke out between the Zeon and the Federation, and it is known as the 1 Year War. The Zeon did not win, and almost all of them were wiped out. Pretty much, if you put me anywhere, if you put me in last place, then I got some questions for you. That's really all I gotta say about that. Also, giant space robots, pretty cool.
Gotta give you that one.
Fucking Gundam.
Just to give a little more in depth, basically, the Federation. Well, actually, I pretty much already explained everything. They're the good guys trying to keep the Nazis at bay. Though, that being said, at one point, because they're trying to keep resistance forces away, they created a subsequent force under them called the Titans, which is basically another authoritarian force which has started to take over. I haven't finished the series yet, so I don't know how that goes. So, to the rankings.
Now listen, every one of yous was great, but one of yous has to be on the bottom. And Doc, I gotta say, this isn't your position.
I was gonna say, I'd have some questions for you based on my last submission there.
Unfortunately, Bomb, I'm gonna have to put you at the bottom here.
Doc,
okay. How you doing, Doc?
Putting me third, or is this another bit?
This is another bit.
Okay.
Because unfortunately, Peter...
I knew it. I knew when you put Bomber at the bottom, I was just going to be above him. I knew it.
So that unfortunately leaves two people left, and one of you has to be the winner, and one of you has to be second. So, Doc, let's talk about Chris's list.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the Empire has done many things wrong, and I cannot side with them. However, I can side alongside the UNFC. Out of everyone, Doc is the only one that swept the board for me, with all positives.
Yes. Take it.
Chris, what do you have to say?
Well, I unfortunately have to join you, and put Barma at the bottom. That said, next up we got Peter.
Hello again, I'm back down here.
Something you said about Torchwood done stuck with me. You said they once made an effort to re-establish the British Empire, and sir, as a red-blooded Yank, that disturbed me on a spiritual level, and that is what gives you the bronze. Next up on the silver, we're gonna go Sam. And at the top, of course, we have Doc. Fucking impossible to go wrong with Scooby-Doo.
Yes, well, no, my list is gonna be probably a bit inverse compared to what we have had before. I'm first off, I'm gonna say that everyone had something I liked in their lists, but I think I probably am judging from different points of view than rest. But that being said, Doc, you are unfortunately last one. Moving on. Next up, this was actually between Sam and unfortunately the other picks of yours kind of scared me. They are very scary. Fury things are very scary.
I told you you're gonna scare people.
Okay, moving on. This time it's gonna be Chris and second spot.
Fair enough.
And then it is gonna be the first guy, and that's gonna be Burp.
Let's have told the bomber about Torchwood later.
No.
Alright, well, time to talk about who hasn't won in my victory royale. I feel mean. Sorry, Sam. So, you know, Chris, your entire time, I was waiting for you to drop the one, like, you were saying that, like, I might end up getting sniped on it. I was not expecting the Sith Empire, or, like, the Galactic Empire. Alright. Well, I might surprise people here. My silver today. Barma, I cannot return you the gold medal.
That genuinely is surprising.
Betrayal.
Okay, Doc, so you're surprised to be up here for once, huh?
Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I've been ranked first like this. I guess that means I guess that means it's my turn. I'm not huge on sci-fi, so and I'm not big on Star Wars. I'm sorry, Barma.
Poor Barma.
Yeah. Last on every single one.
Which means you could probably guess my follow-up here. Sorry, Peter.
Hi again.
And that it was really a contest of who was getting fourth and third, and then who was getting second and first. And it was close, but just screwed up in the end. Sam, I'm sorry, you're going second. Also, I just want to say before I get to my last point, Peter, I was going to pick Team Rocket, but we had that whole discussion yesterday. You discouraged me from picking.
Damn.
Alright, but to finish off this, obviously, since I've rated everyone else, Chris is number 1 on my list.
Grazie, my friend.
But yeah, so that's pretty much my thing. Let me do my calculaciones.
So in 5th place, with 6 points, we have Barma.
You didn't even... Oh, you actually did do the calculations right this time.
In 4th place, with 10 points, we have Peter.
Kaboo.
In 3rd place...
What?
Wait, no, I messed that up. In 4th place with 9 points is me.
Yeah, there you go. I was like, hold on.
I can count. In 3rd place with 10 points is Peter. Let's quickly skip over that one. Because in 12th place with 6 points is Chris.
The fuck does that even mean?
Meaning that in 1st place with a whopping 13 points, we have the Doctor.
I barely etched it out, but I'll take it.
Yep.
I did not...
Second place is good.
This is one of the ones I really didn't expect to go into winning, but as my list developed, I'm like, I'm feeling better about this.
Your list was good.
Super sorry about that, but I have to go.
Yeah, you go get out of here. Go do your thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Goodbye,
Later.
everyone.